Welcome to today's video. In this video, I would like to talk about self-discipline, how easy and necessary it can be, and the 6 steps you can consider when it comes to developing self-discipline as far as your own life is concerned. All right, let's get right into it. Right away, I would like to say that you are not struggling with the concept of self-discipline. As a matter of fact, most people out there do not struggle with the concept of discipline at all. What happens in most cases is that there is a question of why. I know you want me to do this. I know you are expecting me to do this. But I'm trying to understand why you think I have to do it. So the question of why, or the question of purpose, is the biggest question that most people have when it comes to discipline. Yes, I want to do what exactly you want me to do, but I don't understand the purpose beyond this particular request or expectation. And because I don't understand the purpose beyond the expectation and the request, so therefore, I'm going to simply stay away from whatever you ask me to do. And you may then, as you do that, come across as someone struggling with this thing called discipline, or in your particular case of self-discipline, which is not always the case. A big misconception that we also run into when it comes to the concept of discipline is the following. A child will actually misbehave, and the father or the mother will simply come, yes, I'm going to teach you discipline. So then we give to this word discipline a very pejorative connotation, or a very negative connotation. Then it becomes mislabeled and then misidentified as something completely negative, and nothing could be further from the truth. Why? Because when you understand the meaning of discipline, and you go to the etymology of the word discipline, and you go back to its Latin roots, you're going to come to understand that the word discipline paints a completely total different picture. Let me just show it to you. Discipline comes from the Latin word disciplina, which simply means education. And discipline has also the same root as the other word called discipulus. Discipulus, which simply means a disciple, or a pupil, or a student. So when you understand the word disciplina in this context, you come to understand that yes, the word discipline simply speaks to education, or more specifically, it speaks to a system with a purpose. And once you start understanding that the word discipline actually means a system with a purpose, then your mind starts to open up to different other possibilities. And you start also understanding why in many societies we have people that simply are on the fringe, are basically are marginalized, because they are simply saying, yes, we are the constituent of this particular society. We have elected all these leaders to preside over the community. But when it comes to this particular vision they have for the community, we don't see eye to eye with them. And when we ask them questions to clarify why exactly they want us to do a particular way, then they become very upset. And then they want to impose their wills upon us. And as they try to impose the will upon us, what started as a free will is now turning into a place of dictatorship. So the elected leader, the elected official, is now trying to impose the views upon the constituent. And this constituent simply say, we are not going to go by your system, because the system that you have simply putting in front of us, we don't understand the purpose or the why beyond it. But let's go back to the concept of discipline. When you understand the word discipline, according to its etymological roots with Latin, simply means a system with a purpose. then you're going to start to understand why, for example, when you look around, when you look at nature, you're going to see how the ants and the bees can work so wonderfully and make things happen that will simply make you wonder how come they can make things happen so easily, but yet as a society, we humans, we are struggling sometimes with a sense of cohesion when it comes to making things happen, or when it comes to teamwork, or when it comes to simply everyone pulling the weight. Why? Because intuitively, all this, the ants, the bees, and even the lions, the pride of lion, they understand in order for them to function well, they have to have a system. So they think and act in system, and that's how the animals actually go on to make great things happen on their own, because they understand that in order for them to function well, they have to think in system. That's the number one thing. Number two is they also understand that every single member of the group has to understand exactly where they fit as far as the place within the society is concerned. And as everyone understand exactly, yes, this is not my position. I know my place, my individual place in the corporate place of all this grand society. Therefore, when it comes to thinking in system, acting in system, I understand that yes, my contribution is also going to help this society, this system keep on going. And as they understand exactly how the individual contribution are helping the general or corporate society move forward, then they just continue to do it, because that's exactly how they are conditioned themselves to actually think. So again, think in system, more specifically, also come to understand exactly that yes, I know my place. So now let's move now to you. So you have to come to a place where you also know your place. You know your place within society, and you know how invaluable your contribution to the overall welfare of society is. And once you understand how invaluable your contribution is going to be, you're not going to be asking questions, because you know exactly the why. And that's the missing part as far as many societies out there are concerned. Some may say, oh my goodness, this only applies to third world countries or emerging countries. I would say no. Because even in this world, part of the world called First World, you're also going to come to see that there are many governments that have been fighting with the constituent in the first world, in the Western world. Why? Because the government were trying to impose certain things on the constituent, and the constituent are saying, "But we want to do what you're asking us to do, but we don't understand the purpose or the why behind the expectation. So therefore, we are not going to do it." And as they're imposing the will, it simply led to a place of clash. It led to a place where people start wondering why in the first war we start seeing so many people that were simply acting as completely uninterested when it comes to doing what they were supposed to do as far as helping the society move forward. Again, think in system. That's number one. That's exactly what discipline is all about. It's think in system. But more specifically, you have to think in system according to your own particular frame of world, which is basically you have to know your place as far as society is concerned. Not just on a grand level, on a granular level. What you have to understand also is you have to come to a place where you know that yes, it's about my contribution, and my contribution actually revolves around two pillars. The first pillar, which is basically my micro contribution or my micro story. I know exactly the type of story I'm trying to tell as far as my own life is concerned. I know exactly the type of legacy I'm trying to leave behind as far as my own journey is concerned. So this is my micro contribution. This is my signature story, but basically broken down in two different parts. I know exactly how I want to tell my story, and I also know the macro story, how my family, my community, my country are trying to tell our corporate story. And when we mesh the two together, we come now to a place where things are now going to be accelerating, because I know what I'm trying to tell as my story. I know what we're trying to tell as a corporate story. And when we get together, now I become disciplined to make things happen, because I know that I need to think in system. More specifically, I know I need to also be aware of my contribution as far as my place within society is concerned. And this is absolutely key. when it comes to understanding what discipline is all about. That's basically the very foundation. When it comes to the foundation, I'm just going to share with you a very simple principle that's going to help you understand how you think in system, and while knowing your place, and how this is going to jump properly to a place where you're simply going to become unstoppable. Let me now move back to the Roman Empire. I'm going to give you the story first, and I'm going to give you the principle. The Roman Empire. It became so good and so magnificent to the point where even the army that used to go around the world for wars or for conquest was now a reflection of how well coordinated the Roman government was back in Rome. Let me prove it to you. The Roman legion or the Roman army, as it's moving around the world, they broke down the campaign in 6 different stages that I'm going to share with you. Number one, as they're moving on a military campaign, they will come upon, they will simply say, now it is time for us to simply do one key thing, which is to simply do what we call castra ponere. So meaning we have been moving, but we have now to set up a camp somewhere. We need to stand up somewhere so we can actually rest. And castra ponere simply means that yes, now we're going to focus focus on what we call mise en place. What is mise en place? When big chef in the western part of the world, most part of the world, are trying to cook for you, what they will do is they will come in your kitchen, they will come to your restaurant, they will come to your palace, and they will simply say, we are like now to get everything together so that we can actually prepare the best meal possible for you. They're going to come to the kitchen and they're going to reorganize everything according to their own expectation. Because as an artist, the chef is simply saying, I cannot come and put together this beautiful meal for you unless I'm basically in control of the environment, and I will come and do what we call mise en place. I will simply come and put everything in its rightful order. And as I'm doing that, I'm also expecting the people will be serving food for you to also do the same thing. I'm going to instruct them, I'm going to instruct the waiters to go and set up the table in a particular manner, because I want for this absolutely fantastic masterpiece to be presented according to the vision I have in mind. This is the reason why this young king, Louis XIV, took things to the next level. Because he says, when it comes to the sense of grandeur, as far as my country is concerned, I need to be able to dazzle everyone, including all these people coming to visit us. So he set up a very elaborate mise en place as far as living and the place was concerned. Everything had to be put in a very coordinated manner. So even the fork, the knives, and the glass had to be put in a particular way where even it was calculated to the millimeter, because he wanted for everything to reflect a sense of sophistication that could not leave anyone indifferent. Mise en place. Moving back to the Roman Empire, the Roman army, as they're moving around, they will have to do the first thing, which is simply S. S for set up for mise en place. They will go and do a castra ponere. Now they will simply put things in order so they can actually start preparing the camp before they can go to bed. That was the first thing. Yes. The second thing is castra movere. At one point, after sleeping for a few days, they will say, no, it's time for us to move now. So what they're going to do, they're going to start pulling things away. As they're putting things away, it's called castra movere. So as they're putting things down, as they're disassembling everything, they are now getting ready to move and to get back on the road. And I'm going somewhere with this. That's the second thing. The third thing is, at one point, they will simply say, as we're going to stay here, we simply have to think in terms of, my goodness, in terms of education. By education, I don't mean in terms of studying, but we have to simply think in terms of how we can live from a place of enlightenment in this particular environment. So they're going to go and look for a place that's highly, slightly elevated. Number one. Number two, they're going to go to a place where they can have access to water. They're going to go to a place where they have access to wood. They're going to go to a place where they have access to forage. Why? Because they say to themselves, as we go there, we have to be able to draw out of this environment the best that we can. And we have to also draw out of ourselves the best resources and the best skills to be able to sustain sustain ourselves, so that get for education. First step, what will they will do? They will come to a point of simply say, we also have to anticipate the fact that as we're setting up camp around here, someone may have some bad intention as far as we are concerned, and this person may have the intention of coming at night to cause trouble. So what we're going to do is we're going to set a camp that will always be in a rectangular shape. The rectangular shape of the camp will have two entrances, or basically two gates. The main gate and the back gate. Why? Because if the enemy is coming from the front gate, we can always go through the back gate, and vice versa. And they say this is something that we also have to protect, in the sense that we have to have a sense of, anticipation. So we have to know that, yes, as we're setting up camp, someone may try to come into the camp and try to cause trouble. So we have to set a password at the gate that's going to be changed every single night. So as they're doing that, so if you come the next day and you don't know the password, you are not going to be given access to the camp. Because why? They will have simply a sense of anticipation. They know that someone are trying to come and cause trouble. That was number 4. Number 5, what they will do is they will think in terms of response. They will say, despite our best plan to actually anticipate any type of attack, there could always be some crazy people out there that are going to succeed in coming closer to the camp. So what we're going to do, we're going to be able to set up something that we're going to be able to give them the response that they need as far as our military capability are concerned. What are we going to do? We're going to simply make sure that the camp is actually built upon an embankment. And apart from this first elevation, we're going to also build a wall. The wall that will be simply called volume. The volume is going to be a wall that's going to be high enough to give us enough time to prepare ourselves while the enemy is trying to climb over the wall. But not only that, we're simply going to create also a sense of response to the all these enemies attack by making sure that there's going to be beyond this wall called volume, there's going to also be a fossa. A fossa will simply be a ditch that will be basically 9 feet deep and 7 feet wide, so that it will take some time for the enemy to cross this ditch or to cross the fossa to come into the camp. Give us enough time to prepare our response. Last but not least, they say we have also to think in terms of sustainability. At one point, this camp have to become a permanent camp. And as this camp is going to become a permanent camp, what are we going to do? We're simply going to call this camp Caster or Castra. Caster. And this Caster is basically the same mentality that gave birth to things like a Chester, Winchester, or so on and so forth, because even the British came to embrace this philosophy that at one point or another, any army will need to simply set up something that's going to become semi-permanent. And as it becomes semi-permanent, they will simply call it Chester something. So Winchester, Chester, and this Chester came from this Latin origin of Caster or Castra, which simply speak to the last letter as far as this system of thinking is concerned, which simply speak to sustainability. You have now to come to a place where you're going to sustain what you're trying to actually impose as a vision upon the locals. It calls for sustainability. So all this 6th level simply speak to a system simply called spears. So in all that you do, my friend, you have to know where you are when it comes to your own journey. Are you building something? So are you at the point of S? Are you trying to establish something, to put a mise en place as far as your life is concerned? Point number 1. Number 2, are you trying to pull away from something? Are you trying to move away from something? That's S. So P. So point number 3, E. Are you at a place of education? Are you trying to find a way to draw resources out of yourself in order for you to make things happen as far as your vision is concerned? A is for what I just said, anticipation. Are you trying to simply anticipate anything that may try to come into your life and simply disrupt the flow of what you're trying to establish? R, for response. You have to think in terms of what going to be your response going to be. And S stands for what? Sustainability. What kind of culture are you going to try to establish as far as the environment is concerned? And once you start thinking in terms of system, the 6th point, my friend, sky is going to become the limit. You will always know what to do because you know exactly where you are on the map. You will simply come to a place where, as most people simply say in the world of mental development, they will simply say, if this, then what? If this, then what? Because you know, if I'm building, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. If I'm actually at a place where I'm moving of something, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. If I'm at a place where I'm trying to educate, so basically draw resources out of myself, this is what I ought to be doing. If I'm trying to actually anticipate any type of thing coming to me, this is what I have to be doing. If I'm trying to respond, this is the type of action I have to be taking on a daily basis. And if I'm trying to sustain the type of culture I'm trying to establish upon a particular environment, this is also what I'm supposed to be doing. Let's park it for now. If you've been enjoying this video, please make sure to share it with as many people as possible. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that next time we put together a video, you can be amongst the first one to see it. Alright, now back to our presentation. Let me just now give you an example to illustrate what I'm trying to explain. November 7, 1913, somewhere in Algeria, a young man was actually born to a man named Lucien Auguste Camus. This young man was used to work as a farmer. He was not very rich, but he was of French descent. When 1914 came and World War I actually broke out, he was called to go back to France to fight on behalf of the French government. And as he goes there, unfortunately for him, he found himself in a place where he was wounded. He went to the hospital, and of course, you know what happened. He had some basic level of education, so he could write something for himself. But for that particular instance, he did not write the letter himself because he could not see, because his sight had been affected by the bomb that detonated close to him. So he would then get one of his friends to write the letter for him. So he would dictate the letter to his friend, and the friend would write the letter and send it to his wife. But the wife was now half deaf and also illiterate. So she could not hear properly and she could not read. So the wife would now go to someone else to read the letter to her. So a father who could not read the letter himself because he was actually incapacitated, and the wife could not read the letter himself because she was illiterate and she was also half deaf. Talk about levels of separation. And a few weeks after that, the husband passed away. Now the wife was half deaf and illiterate and to raise the children on her own. And she started raising the children, and the young boy by the name of Albert Camus, as he started going to school because they were so poor and broke, he decided to himself that I'm not going to be interested in this particular society in which I live. So I'm not going to be developing any type of discipline as far as life is concerned. But as he's going to school, one of his teachers by the name of Louis Germain notices the young man. He simply said to the young man, I know that as far as life is concerned, you've been basically given the wrong end of the stick. You were basically born on the wrong side of the track. But what I'm going to do is, I see potential in you. So let me just teach you the merit of discipline as far as life is concerned. Because once you know exactly how to think properly, to think in system, and to know your place within society, you're going to go on and to unlock something magnificent as far as your life is concerned. I'm going to teach you how to build something. I'm going to teach you how to move away from things. I'm going to teach you how to educate yourself, to draw resources out of yourself. I'm going to teach you how to anticipate things. I'm going to teach you how to respond. And last but not least, I'm going to teach you how to sustain or to further a community. So the teacher pulled its weight on the line so that the young boy could actually study. It was then beyond just to give the child extra curriculum courses, support, so the child could actually go on to the next level. Eventually it did. But guess what? The same child who was basically almost not going anywhere, as soon as he learned the why beyond the expectation that was put on him, as soon as he learned how to think in system, as soon as he learned what his position was within society, he went on to start writing books. And by 1957, he was awarded the Nobel Prize for his contribution to the world of literature. And now he wrote a letter back to the teacher, Louis Germain, to simply say, you open up my eyes when it comes to the merits of this thing called discipline. Discipline, my friend, becomes easy and necessary when it comes to knowing what you're called to do in this season. Again, know the why and the purpose of what you're called to do. Know your place within this particular context. Know exactly your macro story and the macro story of your community, and know exactly how to position your spears in order to now go on to prepare yourself to the next level. Alright, I'm going to stop right here. Thank you so very much for watching this particular video. Looking forward to sharing more with you in the days to come. Until the day, good care, and remember, you are perfection made flesh. But now for this to become a reality, you have to become more intentional as far as your purpose is concerned and as far as your sense of discipline is concerned. All right? Take good care. I'm out.